My name is Ben Domain, Managing Editor with WestfordCAT, and here's the December 10th edition of WestfordCAT News. Amid a projected town-wide budget shortfall of $7 to $10 million in FY25 and beyond, several staffing cuts are expected throughout Westford Public Schools next year. During a December 4th school committee meeting, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Christopher Chu outlined two budget scenarios, one with a Proposition 2.5 override and one without. A decision on whether or not to endorse either budget has not been made. Chu's needs-based budget would see a 7% increase from FY24 for a total of approximately $70.5 million. This needs-based budget assumes a Proposition 2.5 override is supported by voters. A Proposition 2.5 override, which would need to garner support at both the March 23rd annual town meeting and the May 7th ballot, allows the town to raise the property tax levy above its 2.5% cap. In the first budget scenario, assuming the override is supported, this could see an additional reduction of 27.2 full-time equivalent positions in the district. Full-time equivalent positions are measured as $66,897 per position. These cuts would impact positions at Westford Academy, the elementary schools, and would impact positions in school transportation. Without an override, the district will need to make additional cuts to remain within the 2.5% levy. In this scenario, the needs-based budget would be cut by an additional $3.3 million in FY25 for a budget of approximately $67.2 million. This scenario would cut an additional 47 full-time equivalent positions, including over 11 at Westford Academy and all math and reading interventionist positions in the district. However, if voters opt to support an override, approximately 4 positions would be added to payroll. If voters reject an override, an additional 6 on top of that would be added to handle the restructured academic offerings. With an override, the district expects to cut a net 22.8 full-time equivalent positions, while without an override, the district expects these cuts to rise to 64.2 full-time equivalent positions. A monument in honor of a Westford veteran involved in the passage of the GI Bill is set to be constructed in Freedom Park. The Select Board unanimously approved the monument during a November 28th meeting. A granite slab to honor Forge Village native Francis Michael Sullivan will be installed at Freedom Park ahead of Memorial Day next year. This bronze monument will be placed approximately 5 feet from the brick patio near the gazebo. Approximately $1,500 in funding will be donated by the Westford Historical Society for construction of the project. Born on Pond Street in 1897, Sullivan is credited for his work and advocacy on the 1944 GI Bill of Rights. This bill provided service personnel returning from World War II opportunities for property ownership, college education, as well as unemployment, disability, and pension assistance for wounded veterans. Sullivan attended the Cameron School and graduated from Westford Academy in 1916. Sullivan served briefly in the United States Navy, later serving 4 years in the Naval Reserve. He earned his Bachelor of Law from George Washington University Law School in 1929, later serving on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia. During his career, he advocated for legislation for veterans, including the GI Bill that was signed by President Roosevelt in 1944. Members of the Stony Brook Environmental Leadership Club recently presented their recommendations on how the district can limit solid waste within Westford's public schools during a December 4th school committee meeting. The group recommended that the district replace trays and plastic utensils with cardboard trays and compostable kitchenware. The group estimates that approximately 54,000 trays are disposed of at Stony Brook Middle School each year. District-wide, this number jumps to 378,000 trays per year, which is equivalent to approximately 29,400 pounds of waste. These trays, though commercially compostable, must be transported off-site to be properly disposed of, which the district is not currently doing.
I was just going to say, I feel like the best way to solve the problem is kind of to stop the problem, right there. Kind of prevent that food from being thrown away. And I feel like the best way to do that for students especially is awareness. Right now, people are not thinking. People right now are especially my generation. People are thinking very individually. I'm throwing away an apple. But when you think about it, people start thinking about as a whole, as a school or as a district or as a country. Think about how many apples we're throwing away. I feel like that starts to make an impact on students, and I feel like that's what we have to emphasize on. A bit of my civics action project here, but something like education. In my civics action project was environmental education. So something like some type of thing like that. That kind of, I feel like that creates an effect on students.
Though washable and reusable trays could be an alternative, Superintendent of Schools Dr. Christopher Chu notes that some schools in the district could not support the space required for an industrial dishwasher. Additionally, the group recommended that the district partner with Bootstrap Compost for food and kitchenware disposal. The group also raised the question of food waste in the district, which they say accounts for parts of a student's lunch that ends up thrown away in the trash. Students believe the best way to combat food waste is education on the individual impact of food waste in the district.
Another problem is that we have commercially compostable trays that aren't commercially composted, so really they're the same as normal trash.
Members of the committee praised the club's work and offered support to the students in exploring additional viable avenues to reduce waste in the district. That's all for this week. I'm Ben Domain, and you're watching WestfordCAT News.